Hey guys, it's Christy with Christy's Custom Creations, and I don't know if you remember a few tutorials back, I did a basic chunky glitter tumbler, and I have now turned it into this amazingly awesome peekaboo fall tumbler, and I am going to show you how I achieved that look. So as you see here, I have my basic chunky tumbler, and I used Phoenix Fire from my glitter line, KCC Glitter, and it is a beautiful burnt orange glitter. If you did not see that tutorial, I will link it here and also down in the description box below. So I want to get started by drawing a line all the way around my tumbler, and this glitter shaker, I believe it was Opal Blizzard from my KCC glitter line, I used that. It was the perfect height, and I took a Sharpie marker and I turned the cup and it drew a perfect line all the way around my cup here. So now I'm going to take some painter's tape that I believe I bought it at Lowe's. It's just some basic painter's tape, and I'm going to tape it off right on the line. Excuse my head that gets in the video numerous times during this video, but I had to concentrate really closely and look because I wanted to make sure my line was nice and straight. So I just tape it off all the way around the cup here, following the line, and I stay right on the Sharpie line. And I actually got just underneath the Sharpie line so that as I painted it, you'll see, I'll paint it here in just a bit. As I paint it, I want the Sharpie line to be covered up because I don't want the Sharpie line to end up showing on the portion that stays glittered. So I'm just gonna make sure I've got a good seal there, and then I've got a little bit of a wider tape, and I'm just going to tape this entire bottom off, making sure that I don't have any areas peeking through where the spray paint might get when I spray paint in just a bit. And I don't know if you noticed that cup stand that I'm using down there. I love this thing. I use it all the time whenever I am applying vinyl to a cup, or if I need a cup to sit still while I'm doing something to it. I use it all the time. I got it on Etsy by Hootiful Creations, and I will link them down in the description box below. So now I have got an image that I cut in vinyl. I used Oracle 651 vinyl. I buy my vinyl on Amazon. I'm sure there's many other places you can get it. Amazon gets it to me quickly, and I'm an Amazonaholic. So I cut my image here with my Silhouette Cameo 4, and I found this image on Etsy. It just says "Happy Fall, y'all." It's a super cute little saying, and so I thought it would go perfect with this cup. I will link that down in the description box below too if you wanted to use that image. I don't even remember who sold it, but I got it there on Etsy. So what I'm gonna do is I am weeding out all of the little pieces that are inside the words here, because I'm going to lay this vinyl down on the cup up on the top part that is still showing so that we can create a peekaboo look. Okay, so now I'm gonna do something a little bit different. I'm actually going to take away the outer parts of the leaves. I've got some larger leaves that I cut here, and then I also have some smaller leaves that are around the lettering. And I'm going to take the outer parts off because all I want on these leaves on the tumbler is for the inner portions of the leaves to show once I remove the vinyl after I spray paint the cup, because I'm going to outline it all in a pretty gold vinyl. So it'll make a little bit more sense. If I'm confusing you, it'll make more sense as the video goes on. But if as you notice, I'm only removing the outside portion of the leaves. I'm leaving the inside portion there. So I'm gonna go ahead and weed out all these really little parts. My head was super in the video on that part, so I skipped over making y'all sit through that part of it, but I've got it all weeded out, and it's now time to put it on my cup. So I've got my transfer tape here, and I am going to get my vinyl good and stuck to it with my squeegee. I love this squeegee. It's got a felt tip on it so it doesn't scratch my vinyl. And I'm just going to go ahead and lay this image. Now, as you can see, I forgot to weed one of those leaves, and if it's an image that has really fine detail, you can actually go in and reverse weed it later. So basically you can put the whole image on there and then pull, once it's applied to your item, you can pull the part that you want to weed off of the cup or whatever later on. So you'll see me do this here in just a second. Once I've got it good and secure, I'm going to pull my transfer tape off, and then I'm going to go in with my weeding tool, and I'm going to go ahead and pull the outer edges of that leaf that I forgot to get earlier, and I'm just going to pull it off, and it actually comes off super easy, and I didn't have to fight with all those little bitty inner pieces. Now for this next part, I'm going to take the larger leaves that I cut, and I'm just going to place them sporadically all over the cup. I only did 6 of these because I'm going to use a fall leaf glitter. It's called Autumn Breeze by KCC Glitter, and I'm going to use that on this cup here in a little while, and I didn't want to take away from that glitter, so I only did 6 of these here, and as you can see, I just placed them kind of sporadically on this upper portion of the cup. Now that I have all my vinyl in place, I went in with some Rust-Oleum 2X matte white spray paint, and I got a really good coat of spray paint all over that top portion of the cup. This is what's gonna give us the peekaboo look, and I'm going to go ahead and unveil that now. And if you're super confused, if you've never done a peekaboo before, it is all about to make perfect sense to you. So I'm just untaping this bottom part. You wanna make sure, I like to make sure that my paint is completely dry, because you don't want to mess your paint up if you can help it. I was a little bit impatient with this because I was really excited to see how the design would turn out. So I was, like I said, I was impatient. I should have let my paint dry a little bit longer, but I was very careful with it, so I didn't mess it up or anything, but I usually let it dry longer. I usually let it dry about 1 to 2 hours, and I probably only waited about 30 minutes. So basically what I'm doing here is I am removing all of that vinyl that I just placed earlier. And because the vinyl is being removed, it doesn't matter what color vinyl that you use. I used white because I bought a giant roll of white a little while back, and so I've got a ton of it. But you can use whatever color. If you have some excess of a certain color, by all means use that. It doesn't matter. It's gonna go in the garbage anyways, because you're gonna cover it with spray paint and then you're gonna peel it off the cup. So I am basically just peeling the design off, which is giving me this awesome peekaboo look. Now this part seems to take forever, and I kind of rushed over this earlier at the very beginning of the video, so I want to mention it again. If you missed the tutorial where I did just the basic, back to the basics, how to glitter a cup using chunky glitter, I will link that down in the description box below. It was a tutorial that I did a couple of tutorials ago, and it's how I personally like to glitter a cup using chunky glitter. And now here in this video, I'm pulling off all the little bitty pieces of the inside of those leaves that I placed all over. So all over, I placed 6 of them, but I'm peeling off all those little parts. And I know this part's a little boring. If you want to skip ahead a little bit, by all means skip ahead. It's kind of therapeutic, honestly, pulling all these little bitty pieces of vinyl off and just revealing your image below and revealing the glitter below. I love doing peekaboos for this reason right here. Okay, so now that I have pulled all of the vinyl off, revealing our glitter below, giving us our peekaboo look, it is time to apply some epoxy. So I personally like to apply epoxy before I apply any more vinyl or anything like that, because number one, I'm going to put some Autumn Breeze. It's a leaf glitter from KCC Glitter. I want to put that on there, and then also I want to make sure that my spray paint is nice and protected before I apply any vinyl, because I don't want to pull up my spray paint with my transfer tape whenever I apply the vinyl here in just a little while. So I am going to put a coat of epoxy on here. I only used about 20 milliliters of 15 milliliters of epoxy, because I don't need much. I'm just trying to create a nice thin coat to really protect everything before I add vinyl. So now that I have got my coat of epoxy on there, I'm going to go in with my blowtorch, and I'm just going to make a quick pass around the cup as it spins, popping any little micro bubbles, and then just making sure that the epoxy is laying nice and smooth. And I am using Tumblerpoxy epoxy, and this is my Autumn Breeze glitter. It is, like I said, a leaf shaped glitter. But back to the epoxy. So I'm using Tumblerpoxy epoxy. It is crystal clear. It is absolutely beautiful. It is my favorite epoxy, and I do sell the 16-ounce Tumblerpoxy kits on my website if you want to check them out. If you've never used it before, a 16-ounce kit is a really good starter kit, so you can just give it a try and make sure that you like it. So what I'm doing here is I'm going in with the Autumn Breeze, the little individual leaves. It's just a leaf-shaped glitter. I'm going in and I'm just placing them, kind of sprinkling them, and I get a little crazy in a couple spots where I sprinkle too much. So I'm trying to drop them like one at a time so that they're kind of sporadically placed on the cup. I'm sure you see the beach tumblers and the extra set of hands that keep popping in and out of the video. I actually had a friend of mine, Robin, was over, and we were having a fun crafting day, and I needed a little bit of help with some of these beach tumblers that I had going on. So she was putting some epoxy on these beach tumblers that I was working on. So she was helping me out. That's where the extra set of hands come in at. But so anyways, like I said before, I'm just kind of randomly placing these leaves around, and I get a little crazy in a couple spots where you can see they're kind of clumped up and everything. And I actually went in with one of my picking tools, and this came in a set. I'll link that on Amazon, or I'll link it below. I bought them on Amazon, but I use these picking tools to weed my vinyl and for all kind of stuff all the time. But I was able to just kind of move these little chunky leaves around so that they were placed nicely on the cup instead of just clumped all together. So I just used that and moved them around until I really liked where everything was placed. So I let my cup turn overnight, so it probably dried for about 10 or 12 hours, and I went in and I have this gold vinyl. I bought it on Amazon, and I cut the leaves out again the same way I had cut them before. I just didn't cut out the lettering, the happy fall y'all part, but I cut the leaves out, and then this time I weeded out just the inner portion of the leaves. And excuse my head here, I was trying really hard to focus and be able to see what I was doing because I wanted to make sure that I lined it up perfectly. So I basically just laid the leaves, the outline of the leaves, over the peekaboo portion. So you still see the glitter shining through where the vinyl had been laid down earlier, but now on top of that, it's outlined in gold. So it made it super pretty, and it was just the perfect finishing touch to this cup. And again, I'm going to apologize because I know y'all keep looking at my messy head. I had just woken up and I was excited about putting this vinyl on. So as you can see, it's the perfect addition. So now I'm going to go ahead and do these bigger leaves. And as you see over there on the other side, I had cut a few extra just in case I messed these up, but I didn't. It ended up working out, so I didn't need the extra, but I went ahead and cut a few extra anyways. So I absolutely love how this gold vinyl looks outlining these leaves. It is absolutely perfect. So I had to get a close look at it, so that's why my head keeps popping in the way, because I needed to be able to see it really well. But anyways, I'm gonna let y'all continue watching and ignore my head and my messy hair. And yeah. Okay, so my outline of all the leaves is in place and it looks absolutely perfect. I love how it turned out. So now it's time to put this strip. So I took and cut a long strip of vinyl while I was cutting the leaves, and I just made it a long strip. I don't know the measurements or anything like that on it. I just made it the same length as the paper, and then I just followed my paint line around the cup. And that's all I did. I just laid it around the cup, following the paint line, making sure that I kept my line nice and straight. And I laid it down and wrapped it all the way around, making sure that it stayed nice and straight. So right here on the back where the vinyl kind of overlaps a little bit, because it's a reflective vinyl, it will show. So I just took my little craft knife and right on the line where they meet, I just very carefully trimmed it, and the two pieces laid together perfectly right there. So one trick when you're using a reflective vinyl like this gold is a reflective vinyl, when you're using one, go in with a clear spray paint. I like to use Rust-Oleum 2X Gloss Clear. Y'all look how pretty that is. I just can't handle it. It's so pretty, but this is the spray paint that I like to use. And if you go in and you spray over that vinyl, it will help it not lift up. A lot of people have problems with their reflective vinyl or even regular vinyl sometimes trying to lift up on their cups after they apply vinyl. This is the trick. You can use that, or you can use, I think some people use like a polyacrylic or something like that over it. I like to use the clear spray paint. It has never failed me, so that is my go-to. So now I'm going to go in with one final last coat of epoxy, and I am using 30 milliliters of Tumblerpoxy epoxy, and I actually ended up not even using the whole 30 milliliters. I ended up using about 20 milliliters for this final coat. It got really good coverage. The cup was already super nice and smooth, so it covered up really well. But so like I said, I mixed 30 milliliters. I ended up using 20 milliliters. I poured the rest into a mold, but I am just going to put it all over the cup once that clear spray paint is dry. And I am going to, once I get good coverage, I will take my one finger and I will start at the bottom of the cup, working my way up, just smoothing it down as the cup spins all the way around. And then once I do that, I will give it a swipe across the bottom, making sure that my epoxy is laying even on the bottom. And then time to go in with my blowtorch, and I just make a nice quick pass, going back and forth really quickly on the cup, popping any little micro bubbles and making sure that it stays nice and smooth. And if you want to get your hands on any of this glitter that I used in the video here, It is Phoenix Fire and Autumn Breeze from kccglitter.com. That is my glitter line, and I will have it linked down in the description box below. And look how pretty this cup turned out. I love it. And as always, a huge thank you to all of my KCC Diamonds, my Patreons. Y'all are my biggest supporters, and you have no idea how much your support means to me. Y'all are absolutely amazing. I hope everyone enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like and subscribe button. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. And as always, I hope y'all have a great day, and y'all take care. Bye.